Mr. Neil Parekh.
Mr. Speaker, sir, thank you for allowing me to join this debate on the Free Trade Zones Amendment Bill. Singapore's free trade zones, or FTZs, at our ports and airport are an important node of business and trade for the Singapore economy to thrive and prosper safely without any hindrances and threats. Singapore's free trade agreements, or FTAs, investment guarantee agreements, and the double tax avoidance agreements also allow for smooth trade with many countries in the world. In particular, this piece of legislation is of utmost importance for both SMEs as well as larger companies, as it is all about the ease of doing business in Singapore. It also gives a very clear and loud message to the investor community that Singapore means business in the proper operation of its ports of entry for goods and services. In my speech, I would like to highlight three key items: importance of this legislation to global trade, the benefits that our businesses get from this new legislation, and lastly, some concerns from a small business SME standpoint in their participation after the changes in this amendment are accepted. Free trade zones in Singapore were first established in the 60s to facilitate trade in duty-able goods. And the Free Trade Zones Bill was last amended in Parliament in 2014. According to the Financial Action Task Force, FATF, FTZs are vulnerable to trade-based money laundering through the misrepresentation of the price, quantity, or quality of imports and exports, phantom shipments, and falsification of invoices. Much has happened in the last 9 years, and it is timely to update this legislation, keeping in line with recent developments in global trade. Sir, let me now try to focus on the key thrusts of the bill. In my view, this amendment removes legal uncertainty by creating security measures that ensure that goods passing through Singapore follow very stringent checks enforced by FTZ authorities. I believe these amendments also provide a stronger framework for preventing money laundering and financing for terrorism. Three specific points. Licensing of FTZ operators. The amendment allows many administrative responsibilities to shift to licensed FTZ operators for more efficient movement of goods. The new tenets that allow operators and cargo holders to delegate authority are reflective of current industry practices globally. The amendment seeks to strike a balance enabling both better oversight of goods flow and ensuring efficient movement of goods. The proposed amendments provide more powers to the officers of customs to investigate and arrest any party suspected of illegal activity. In providing clear definition of criminal offenses, it allows the Director General and staff to enforce the law with increased penalty for offenses. Lastly, this amendment also allows for a smoother transmission of information and documents while providing greater flexibility to staff. Also want to highlight that the staff working in free trade zones play a key role in the detection, deterrence, and prevention of money laundering and financial crime. To help the staff to better appreciate the magnitude of the risks, we will need to, on a continuous basis, develop training roadmaps and programs which will be conducted by the private operators for the staff performing various functions in the free trade zones. Now to some concerns regarding the SME community. SMEs will require a longer period to adjust to the main tenets of the new amendments. SMEs simply lack the capabilities and resources to take a more active role in enforcement and administration, which would make it difficult for them to take advantage of the new powers afforded for FTZ license operators and cargo handlers. SMEs will also need to understand the legal powers vested in FTZ authorities and their needs-based information gathering procedures. As a vibrant trading hub, much of the work being done at the FTZs is around the clock, and SMEs may not have the scale to manage their lean workforce while balancing additional training needs. Perhaps SMS can elaborate the plans in place to assist our SMEs to help implement these changes. The revised legislation also stands to benefit many businesses. The new amendment allows more delegation of authority by FTZ operators and cargo holders. This may benefit the SMEs as well as large businesses as they can outsource certain tasks. There is also a very clear list of what constitutes an offense under the Free Trade Zones Amendment Bill, what is permitted and prohibited, the gravity of each offense, and also sentencing considerations. The legislative changes also create a safer environment for new players, as goods passing through Singapore's FTZs will require stringent checks done by FTZ authorities. For SMEs aiming for global presence, the free trade principles of this amendment will safeguard their operations and increase a brand presence internationally. This may also push them to adopt more digital technology faster. In conclusion, sir, strong, well-managed free trade zones are important to allow our country to remain competitive regionally and internationally. These amendments will reinforce high standards of compliance that will not only maintain Singapore's strong standing as a trade hub, but also attract foreign investment that has confidence in our deep due diligence. Sir, it is evident to me that these amendments will facilitate further development of our free trade zones, and hence I support this bill.